one thing I always tell with everybody, I don't know, I feel like physical fitness or movement should just be a part of everybody's lifestyle. It's just so
Mhm.
important, especially in our community.
Yes.
It's just a major part of your health. So you don't have to run. Find what's good for you.
Want more Rolling with Tay podcasts? Well, follow on Instagram and Twitter at Rolling with Tay. Visit the blog rollingwithtay.wordpress.com for more content and be sure to sign up for the monthly newsletter. And lastly, subscribe to the YouTube channel Rolling with Tay. This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and this is episode 2. And my guest on this episode is Karisa. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Uh, Thanks again for being a guest on the show. Shout out to your cousin Shadrach, who was a guest on season 1, episode 6. So people check that out if you haven't. He connected us to, and he mentioned you a few times, and he even shared an article with me about a really cool run that you and a group of people did, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But again, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's definitely a pleasure. I definitely love to support.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to get right into it. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then how you got into running.
Um, so I'm originally from New York. I'm in my 40s, so I'm not young. But I've been running. I mean, I grew up in the city. I grew up in the Bronx most of my life, went to public school most of my life. My family's from Jamaica. Shark's my cousin, so you know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got into running probably in high school. I joined the track team when I was in high school, and I've kind of been running ever since. It's kind of like a way of life for me now. So like I ran in high school, I ran a little bit in college, then I was in the military and we had to do a lot of running there and I just never stopped really.
Dang. Wow. You just ran throughout high school, a little bit of college, and
Yeah, and it's just
mhm.
always been it's I just never stopped. I've always run like I'm the military. So in high school and college, I was like a sprinter. So that's like short distance for
Mm-hmm.
like 200 meters, like half a track, if you know a track. I think
Mm-hmm.
the most I might have done was a 400, which wasn't often, which is a full length of track. And I remember in college, I used to always tell my coach, like, my body breaks down. I can't run longer than a mile. Like, I'm a sprinter. You ain't getting me out there running all these miles. I remember when we had like cross country meets in high school, as soon as we got into the woodland, I should start walking because I was like, I'm not running like all these miles. I can't do it. But when I joined the military and I was forced to run, like three,
Mm.
4 miles every morning and like basic training and stuff, that's when I really got into like running longer distance. And that's just when I got into more of the mental aspects of running, and realized how much more mental it was versus physical. I mean, it's physical, but how much more mental it was, especially when you look at like longer distance running. And like I said, I just never really stopped. I just kept doing it. It just came a way of life for me, kind of like brushing my teeth.
Mm-hmm. Dang, I commend you. I can't run down the block. I can't run at all. And then people see me, and I guess I have an athletic build, and they're like, "Are you a runner?" I'm like, "I wish." No.
Yeah. See, I used to get that a lot when I was younger, but like I said, I'm in my 40s. I mean, I'm not in bad shape, but I'm not like as built as I used to be. So people used to always ask me like all the time, I know you play a sport, you like you run, you do something. But then people tell me that all the time when I'm like, I run. They're like, oh, I can't run as much as you. I can't run. I'm like, run is my thing. Do what's like you said, you like to
Mm-hmm.
cycle. I just tell people, like, find your thing. You don't have to run. Like, it's something I do. I'm like, it's part of my life, but I feel like people just need to move and move their body. So, whatever way you can move your body, just do it. And people think, even if you want to run, you don't start running. I mean, people think you just get out there and you just run as fast as you can. And then I think that's what people think about, like, oh, I can't run a mile because they think I need to run a mile as fast as I can. But you just take your time. If you need to stop and walk or you need to walk, run for 5 seconds and then walk. Run for 5 seconds and then walk. And you just ease your way into it. And eventually you'll condition your body to be able to run half a mile or one length of the track. And then that would just go on to a mile. And yeah.
Build up your endurance.
Yeah, it's really just really building up like your aerobic base and your endurance, but it's really mental. So you kind of have to get yourself in the mental mindset to like want to do it because to a certain extent, you are pushing your body to be uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
if it's something you're not used to doing.
Now, how often do you run?
So it depends. If I'm like training for like a race or something, I'll run more. I run all the time. So even if I'm not training, so if I'm not training, I'll generally run like 3 or 4 times a week. I usually try to run at least 3 miles when I run. It just depends on how I feel. I might run more. When I'm training for something, it depends on how long the race is. I can get up to like a couple years ago when I was training, I was up to like 50 miles a week.
What?
So it just really depends. Like right now, I just started a training plan like this week, but like the last 6 months, I haven't really been on a training plan. So I've just been running like 3 to 5 times a week, 3 plus miles. Some days I'll run longer if I feel better, good. Sometimes I don't. But yeah, it just
Now,
depends.
are you one of those people, no matter the weather, you're outside?
Yeah, yes. I don't like running on treadmills. Like I try and I do if I have to, but even if it's cold, like I ran 2 days ago, it was raining and I just ran. And even if it's cold, I mean, I warm up quickly as long as it's not like I was home for Christmas and it was like in the teens and the ones. And Shara came over, talk about he was walking and running. I'm like, nah, see, nah. It was too cold because it was like 7 degrees outside. I was like, no, that I gotta draw the line somewhere. But usually, if it's 20 degrees or up, I could run outside comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather run outside versus running like on a treadmill. But like the rain doesn't bother me. I've run in the snow. I have like little cleat things I could put on my sneakers if I want to run in the snow or the ice and stuff like that.
that's that's dope and dedication right there.
Yeah, it depends. Like when I was doing like training plans, I will force myself regardless of the weather. If I'm not doing a training plan, I might be like, ah, I can skip today. I can just go tomorrow, or I can just run on a treadmill. But if I'm on a training plan, I try to stick to it. So regardless of the weather, I mean, I'll just get out there and get it done.
Yeah, that definitely is what's up. I understand you. Like I have a trainer where I can ride my bike inside, and sometimes I just don't feel up to it. I'd rather go outside and ride, but it also depends on the weather. I,
Yeah. I mean,
I,
it's so different versus when you're stationary versus when you're outside moving. I feel like on the treadmill, it takes like for the time feels like extra slow. Like I don't care if I'm watching a movie, like I got something I'm watching, it still feels like it goes extra slow. But when I'm outside, it's like you see stuff. And that adds to the experience, I think.
yeah.
So you kind of get lost sometimes and get in the zone. And it's like you don't realize how far you're going. And it's not as hard as much as it's not as much as a task where I feel like on the treadmill, it's like a task, like, okay, let me go knock this out. And you're just looking at the time, you keep looking at the time. But when you're outside, like I said, it's kind of more of an experience. So you get in the zone, you see different stuff going on. Yeah, it's definitely harder indoors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you. So you spoke about running being more mental than actual physical, or I guess we would say in the middle. But what has running done for you? Basically,
Um,
why do you still run? Like, why are you still? Why? What kept you running, and what keeps you running?
It's really like, and I don't know if it's because I've just been having to do it for so long. Like I said, in school, in the military, it's kind of like a way of life. Like it's like me brushing my teeth. And it's not running is kind of just the activity that I'm used to and the physical activity I've always done. But there's times when I've been injured and stuff and couldn't run, and I still had to do some type of physical activity. The times where I couldn't run, I've gotten like depressed.
Mm.
because I think it helps. I mean, it helps me clear my mind. And sometimes when I start feeling anxious, like with my anxiety, it helps me with my anxiety. It's kind of just it's like I look at it as part of like my hygiene routine.
Mm.
Like I got to get up, I got to take a shower, I got to brush my teeth, I got to go for a run. It's not like, am I going to go for a run? It's like, I got to go for this run. So it's not like I'm thinking about, am I going to do it or not going to do it? I'm going to do it because it's like something I have to do.
Mm.
Or just like keeping my body moving. I hate being like sedentary. Like even times when I've been injured, it's like I have to do something, even if it's just walk or it's like I have to keep my body like moving. I feel like I don't know.
Nah, I agree. I'm right there with you. Um, and I like how you said it's part of your hygiene. Like this is something like, all right, you wake up, you brushing your teeth. All right, I'm lacing up my shoelaces. I'm going outside for a run.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess they say, I forget how long they say it takes things to become a habit. So I guess you can say like it's a habit. If you do something for like 90 days or something, they say it becomes like a habit. And it's like I'm really habitual with
Mm,
everything. So it's like I said, part of my routine. So like the times when I haven't been able to do it, I've become like depressed. And I know that part of that is because it's kind of like a stress releaser for me. It helps with
yeah.
my anxiety as well. So it helps clear my head. Cause like I listen to like podcasts and music when I'm running, but a lot of times I just zone out. Like the podcast and the music is playing, but I don't even hear it. I'm just like zoned out. Or it
Mm-hmm.
helps me sometimes think through things that I have on my mind. So it's kind of like a therapy to a certain
Mm-hmm.
extent, like an alternative form of therapy. Because I think that they even say like some of the endorphins that release when you run or do any kind of like physical activity to that level kind of helps with like relieving stress, depression, and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, it does. A lot of different activities, such as cycling. So that's one of the reasons why
See,
I haven't
cycling
been
is
doing it.
hard. So like I run and I swim too. So like I was on the swim team too. So I swim. So I'm a pretty good swimmer. And I've always thought about like, man, I should do a triathlon. I was like, maybe I should do an Ironman, but I just don't want to get on a bike. Like I have no desire to cycle.
see,
And everyone
see,
is like, swimming is the hard part. Most people could do the running and they like the cycling, but I was like, I just don't want to cycle. Like I don't even know how to ride a bike, to be honest.
okay.
And I have no desire to get on one.
Well, see, like I said, I'm the opposite with the running part. But I mean, you know what? Once you get on a bike, it's gonna take you places. It's gonna take you places, and you're gonna be like, damn, I should have been riding a bike a long time ago.
See, and then I'm mad clumsy. So I'm like, I'm gonna be out in the street. I'm gonna get hit by a car. I'm gonna roll
You,
over. I just,
you'll be fine. You will be fine. I have all the trust in you. Just
yeah,
get
I
on.
don't know. Maybe one day. I keep saying, like, psyching myself, saying up because like, I need to do a triathlon. But then I'm just like, I don't want to ride a bike. And I have a lot of friends that are like into cycling, but I'm just like,
You got to do it. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting
one
for you
day,
to do that
one day,
triathlon. Pick up
maybe in
that
a couple
bike.
years.
All right, cool. I'm gonna hold you to
Okay.
that. So Shadrach sent me an article. I think it was a blog post of this run that you did. You participated in. It's called Grand Canyon Rim to Rim. I didn't know what the hell that was. And I read the article. I was like, oh, this is dope. Then I went to YouTube to look, and this is a very popular thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not among us as much,
Yeah, yeah.
but I didn't realize either until I had a friend of mine who he's really into like OCR racing and stuff. He does a lot of
Mm-hmm.
OCR those Spartan races and stuff. He mentioned it to me and he was like, he's trying to get a group together and asked me if I want to do it. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Like, I kept pushing him off. And then eventually, but I kind of wanted to do it. And then, like you said, like I looked at YouTube because I've been to the Grand Canyon, but I never heard of it. It's not like an official race.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people do it. It's something people do. So I was just like, I don't know. I was on the fence for a while. And then finally I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because I've never done anything like that ever. Like ever. I don't even really before then, before I started training for that, I usually just ran on the road. I didn't do a lot of like trail running.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a whole new kind of type of experience and training for me to do that. But yeah, so it's like, the Grand Canyon, it was just rim to rim to rim. I only made it rim to rim. So it's like you start at one rim, you go down the canyon, across and up. And it's like the whole thing is 48 miles. So half of it is like 24 miles, I guess, 24, 25 miles. And then we start, but it's for the first half, it's like all downhill. Then you go across for a few miles and then it's straight uphill for like 8 miles.
Mm.
So I think the total elevation is around gain is like 11,000 or something like that.
What?
So I think mine was like at 7 and I only did it half. So we started like 3 o'clock in the morning. There was 8 of us. Um, and it took us like, I want to say like 10 hours to reach the other side. Cause it's like a run hike. Cause you're not
Yeah.
running up. I mean, so the fastest person that's done that route, he's like the top ultra runner. So ultra runner is anything over a marathon, which is 26
Yeah.
miles, is an ultra run.
Mm-hmm.
So the fastest guy that's done it, he lives out there. He's done it, the whole thing, like back and forth, 48 miles, and I want to say like 8 hours or something. And he actually like runs all the way down and runs all the way up. And he actually was out there when we were out there, which was cool because I was looking for him because I got like obsessed with him when I started training and like watching videos. I kind of got like obsessed with him. But yeah, so think about it. It took us 10 hours to get to one side. It takes him 8 hours to get to one side and back.
So, all right, okay. So it took you. So, so then, what did y'all do? Like, did y'all
So
like?
we started in the morning at 3 in the morning. We went down. We take like bathroom breaks. We didn't really stop and stand around too much.
Mm-hmm.
We ran down. We tried to do as much running downhill as we could, but it's dark and the terrain because it's on a trail. It's not like running on the road. So based on the terrain, you can try to run when you can. If it's too rocky, sometimes you might not be able to run. Then you go across, so the Colorado River goes through the Grand Canyon. So they have like little bridges and stuff. So you cross over the river and it's flat for a few miles. And then you just go back up and it's just like you're just climbing out. You're climbing out. And the only way to get in there is to hike in there or a helicopter. So, like, if you get hurt or something, they'd have to medevac you out. It's not like somebody can drive down there and come get you. Like, so we had like radios and we had someone at the top waiting for us. So when we got to the other side, we rested for a little bit and then another group came back down and went back across. And I think it took them about 20 hours to do the whole thing, which was like 48 miles. But yeah, it was great experience. It was great. I mean, it wasn't as bad. I trained a lot for it. I did a
Mm-hmm.
50K race a couple months before it, which is like 31 miles.
Okay.
And that was like a mountain race as well. And once I did that, I was like, okay, I can do this. And I would have gone back, but I was like behind the pack. So the pack that was
Mm.
going back left. When I got to the top, they were leaving to go back. So it was
Oh,
like,
okay.
I'm not going by myself. So it was kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna just call it here. But yeah, it was a great experience. I really appreciated them including me. Um, the training was great. We trained, some of them live in the same area as me, so we trained together a little bit. But yeah, it's just mentally just seeing how far you can. I don't think I've ever pushed my body to that level
Mm-hmm.
before. And then realizing it's not that bad. Like I realized how much my training and me getting prepared had just I was so prepared for it. I wasn't like that, but like I wasn't really sore the next day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, oh, this is not that bad. And I realized how important training is and is nutrition. So if you're running for a long period of times, you have to eat while you run. So if you're running longer than an hour, you need to intake like a certain amount of calories every hour. And I never used to do that before. I used to just, run and just be dog tired and feel like
Mm-hmm.
shit the next day. So I had to learn about like how to feed my body while I was running and before I'm running and after I'm running, like what to eat. Like I eat baby food a lot. Peanut butter sandwiches, and they
Mm-hmm.
have like gels and drinks. And I have a little timer on my watch that reminds me like every 30, 45 minutes to eat and drink. So if I, the re- so keeping my body fueled helped me to recover quicker and just helped me to feel better while I was going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So yeah.
that's really important. And the same thing when I do long rides on my bike, like we'll do 100 miles. You have to make
Yeah,
sure you
yeah, it's
have
really
to.
any physical activity
Yeah,
that's long, any endurance type of activity, you have to fuel your body to get through it.
man, that sounds amazing and crazy at the same time, but like a crazy that I would do it. Like, all right, I'm about to do this. And I could just imagine how you felt after you completed it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, and just as like I said, us like black people, like people literally when we were there, people kept stopping us like, oh wow, like because we're the only black people out there. Especially the only black people going down to the bottom and coming up. Like people are like, oh wow, look at this group. Like people literally kept stopping because people camp down at the bottom and stuff.
mm-hmm,
So most people don't do what we did, but they'll hike a little bit down and camp at the bottom and then hike back up and stuff like that. So there are people out there camping and stuff that you pass, or people that's just like hiking halfway or just a little bit down and up. But we were the only ones you know, um, that were out there. And the guy who kind of led it, he has a group called I think it's Black Endurance Back with Endurance, yeah,
mm-hmm.
BWE. Him and another female, they have a group, and they kind of highlight all like Black people doing endurance types of sports and things.
Nice, nice. How long or how far in advance did you start your training before you did this?
I started training, so we did it in October, and I started training in May.
Okay.
May, yeah, like April, May time frame. I started training for it. So about 4 or 5 months, but I was already running. So like I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always running. So I feel like when I start, I when some, it's never a time where I'm not running. So if I'm sign up for a race or something, then I just calculate how long I got to go back to start like increasing my mileage to get ready for that race. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if I was not running at all and starting from scratch, I'd probably have to train longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, about four, maybe five, six, around 5 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not, I had to do what I didn't never had to do before I had to do a lot of hiking. Because like I
Mm.
said, it's a lot of climb out of there. So I started hiking a lot and I would walk on the treadmill with like a weighted vest. I would put like the treadmill up at the max height. So I was trying to do just stuff where I can get used to elevation and having to climb for that long a period of time. So I did a lot of hiking along with my running, like long hikes, like 20-mile long hikes,
Do
just to
you
get some elevation.
do you still hike now?
Yeah, so I always hiked. I just never hiked like 20
Like
miles
that?
before
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I like hiking. Like I'm into nature, so I've hiked before. I mean, I go hiking. Yeah, I'm not saying I always hiked. In my older years, in the last probably 4 or 5 years, I've started hiking a lot. I go out a lot on my own, or there are a lot of different hiking groups that I'll go hiking with. But I like hiking. I like it. Not as much as running. I mean, hiking for me, running is like exercise. Hiking is more like a leisurely,
Mm,
meditative type of thing to do.
mm-hmm.
I don't really look at it as like a type of exercise.
Yeah, yeah. I just started hiking not too long ago, um, and I really enjoy it. I
Yeah. I mean, it is
really.
exercise. I say that, but it is
Oh,
exercise.
oh, it is. I've gone up some hikes and I'm just like, what? Legs sore
Yeah.
the next day. I'm huffing and puffing, arms hurt, like what? Damn. But I got some walking sticks, or yeah, I guess they call it like hiking sticks.
Yeah,
I
girl,
got
those are
those.
the best.
Yeah, they are. I did.
And
I
I always
did
was like, I
that.
don't need those. I'm in shape. What do I need those sticks for? Oh my God, when I got them, I was like, oh my God, I should have been using these all the time.
The same here. I was like, what? These are great. And you
Yeah.
know, they double as a weapon. I will knock somebody out, knock an animal out with them. But yeah, they really are. I'm glad
Yeah.
I
And then the
purchased them.
ultra runners, like the people that do like the 50-mile and 100-mile races and like mountains and stuff, they use sticks
Hmm.
because you can't run that whole time. So a lot of
Yeah,
sometime when you go start going up, they're just hiking and they use those sticks too. So I was like, well, if they can use it, then I can use it.
exactly. Do you think you'll go back and do, what is it, rim to rim to rim? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, no. So the group that went, a few of the guys that didn't make it both times went back and did it this year. But I was like, I'm good. I went out there once. I'm not going back out there to do it again. But they did, and they did it twice. They did it, made it both times. So like, I
Mm,
think it was four of them went out this time, and they went out and did it again.
do
But
you
yeah,
do you
yeah.
have any like other endurance um runs or activities you see yourself doing in the future?
Yeah, so this year I just signed up to do so there's an ultra race in Switzerland and France. It's called Tour de Mont Blanc.
Mm.
So I think it's like 100-mile ultra. And the people that do the race, they do it in like 30 hours. I think the winner comes in like 20, 30, around 30 hours. But a girl I know, she's trying to get a group together, and we're gonna do it. Not the race. We're gonna do the route of the race, but we're gonna do it in 6 days. So it's like 105 miles. So we'll do around like 20 miles, a little less than 20 miles a day. So it starts in the Swiss Alps in Switzerland, and then I think she said you cross into Italy and France, but it's like all in the mountains out there. So I'm gonna do
What?
that in July.
Wow, that if you can see my face, I'm just smiling. That's so cool. That's so dope. Are you gonna camp? Like, how is it? What are you planning on
So they
doing?
say at night, we she did it last year. So they said at night they have like refuges or places where we would sleep at night, camps or something. And they have that all set up for us. And then during the day, we'll probably be out like 8 to 10 hours during the day, and then we'll just each different spot, we have somewhere to stay for the night.
Listen,
Yeah.
I definitely gotta follow you on Instagram so I can see. I can see this. Are you gonna document
Yeah. So I'm
it?
excited about that. So I started training for that. I got into the lottery for the Berlin Marathon. So that's in
Hey,
September.
I'm going too,
You are?
but I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna
Oh,
skate.
for real?
Yeah, I'm skating.
Okay. So I'll be there.
See you
So I'll
there.
be there for that. But besides that, I was gonna try to get in the New York Marathon. I don't know. My god brother wants to do it, and I said I'd try to do it with him. Um, and I got like the shorter races. I think
Mm-hmm.
Shaddy's doing the cherry blossom race down here in DC. That's a 10 miler. I'm
Oh,
doing that.
nice, nice.
So yeah, I just started training this week. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited
Yeah,
because
so
last year I had all plans to do a bunch of stuff and I didn't really do any of it. And I kind of got disappointed in myself. So I'm gonna stick to everything this year. I mean, I already paid my money, so
exactly. um. Uh. Oh, what was I about to ask you? So the training that you're doing now, is that for the race in July, or is
yeah,
that in? Okay.
I'm just training for that. I'm gonna do similar training to like what I did the Grand Canyon. Um, yeah, a lot of running, trail running, so not running on the road, like getting in trails and trying to run on trails and hiking and stuff like that. So it'll be similar. And then the Berlin Marathon, I think that's in September. I mean, road marathons, I don't really need to train. I mean, I'll be trained up for that and I'll be doing
Hmm.
so much mileage. I'll just have to continue running and I'll be
Okay.
fine for the marathon.
Okay. Well, do you take a break after doing this, the July run, since that's such a
I'll
big
probably take like a
race?
couple weeks off
Okay.
and then just start running again for September. I hate running in the summer though.
Oh,
It's so hot, but I don't
yeah.
have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I can do a marathon. Like I could do a marathon now, even though I haven't been running that much. It's gonna suck, but I can do it. And I'm not trying to make a certain time or anything like
Gotcha.
that. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
do it. So I'm not really like training hard for it. Like I'm like, oh, I need to run under this time. I'm like, I just want to do it. And I know if as long as I keep running consistently, I won't have an issue
Mm-hmm.
completing it. So
Mm-hmm. Have you done any other marathons? I know you didn't. I know you said you didn't do New York, but have you done like Chicago or Boston or?
no, I haven't done any of the big six they call them. I haven't done
Mm-hmm.
any of them. So I never used to even really do races like that. I just be running just to run. I literally just be running just to run. And then like I think maybe 2 years or 3 years ago, I started Instagram just for my running.
Mm,
And then I started meeting a lot of other people, especially Black people that run and do all these races too. And they started getting me to sign up for stuff. And I started doing races. Because before that, every once in a while, I had done a marathon before, but I used to just run anyway. I used to just run to run. Like every once
mm-hmm.
in a while, someone would ask me to do a 5K or something like that, and I would do it. But I was just like running to run.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, I have a race in August. I'm doing a relay. Have you heard of the Ragnar races?
Um.
They're like relays. So it's like you might do
Mm-mm.
100 miles, but there's like six people,
Oh
and you just
no.
keep like each person will do like 4 or 5 miles at a time, and you just keep handing it off to the next person.
Mm-mm. Where's
So
that?
in Vermont. So I'm doing one like that in Vermont in August. I keep forgetting about that.
you, gotta, you gotta add that to your race calendar.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. And that's one you definitely have to do because that's a team effort. But yeah. But once
Dang.
you probably run like 16 to 20 miles total. So it's not bad. And
Oh, okay.
four you do like four at a time. So you have a van and you got everybody drives around in the van. So one person is running, then you meet the person and somebody else jumps out and starts. And you just do that till you get to the end.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Damn, I'm excited for you. Yo, you got some. You got some. First of all, the traveling part. I love it.
Yeah.
And then like, oh man,
I've been trying to do my budget to make sure I can. Before I committed, I was like, okay, I gotta sit down and do a budget because all this stuff costs money.
it does. It does.
But I'm good. I'll be able to swing it. I might have to forego some like personal vacation because of this. But I was like, I can hit that in 2024.
Exactly. Push it to next year. And then 2024, 2025, you'll be doing a triathlon. And then after that, the Ironman. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to watching your journey.
Pray for me.
um, is there any advice that you would give to someone? One, just starting running. Like, what would you give? I don't run, but I see how it could add to my exercise, my regimen. I don't always feel like taking my bike out or putting my skates on. I'm running. So you suggest that I just start, like you said, for run for 5 seconds, then walk. Should I be running in the street? I see people running on the side. I see people running in the street rather than
That's
on the
me.
sidewalk.
That's me.
That's it.
Because sometimes I don't want to have to drive somewhere to go run. So usually during the week, I just walk out my door and start running. On the weekends, I'll go out to trails and stuff. But during the week, I only have like limited.
So you
because I have to
just
work. So yeah, I just walk out my door and run in one of the directions. But yeah, I mean, I feel first one thing that a lot of people don't know, you got to get good running shoes. If
mm,
you're gonna run, you need to get good running shoes. So I suggest you go to like a running store. They'll put your feet, see what type of like gait you have, what kind of foot strike you have, and help you choose the right shoe because you don't want to get injured.
yeah.
And then just start walking. I mean, don't even say you're going to start running. Say you're just going to start walking. If you've never run before, just say you're going to start walking and see if you can walk a mile or half a mile or do it by time. Say I'm going to walk for 15 minutes and then start picking up the pace of your walk. Well, tomorrow, and look how long it takes you to walk a certain distance and then try to pick up your pace, like do a speed walk and see how long it takes you to do a certain distance. And when you feel like you can go a certain distance walking pretty fast comfortably, then you can start incorporating some type of run. You can say, maybe I'm going to walk for 15 minutes. I might run for 15 seconds every minute. So I'm going to run, but not run like full out sprint. That's one thing people think. They think of running like when you were in gym and you were a
Yeah.
kid, you were racing somebody. You're not racing. You're
See, that's what
jogging.
I think of. I can't make it.
You're jogging. So technically, if you're gonna run for long distances, you want to run at a pace where your breathing is comfortable. You're not like breathing really hard. So that's why you kind of walk and then start speeding up the walking to kind of build up your aerobic system because you have to build up like an aerobic base. And then once you start running, you run like I run slow. Like I try to keep my heart rate at a certain level
Hmm.
because once if you're running really fast, so what they say is you should run 80% of your runs at your easy pace, which is slow, where you should be able to have a conversation and talk with somebody. You shouldn't be too out of breath. Your heart rate should be pretty low in the green zone, and then 20% should be like you're maxing yourself out. So you run for 15 seconds. If you can do that comfortably, just try to increase it little by little by little. And then maybe you start looking at distance, saying, okay, I'm going to try to do half a mile or I'm going to try to do a mile. And they have all the apps you can download, like the Nike Run Club app, the Strava app. Most
Hmm.
phones, if you have an Apple or iPhone, they have a health thing. You can use that. And they have programs in there you can use, like Couch to 5K, or they have things you can use just to track your time if you just want to see how far you're walking and running or how long. There's like so many things out there. I think a lot of people are just scared to go out there. They feel like people might be looking at them,
Hmm.
especially if you're just going out somewhere where a lot of people run and walk, or you're just going out on the street. You're like, oh, I don't want people looking at me. I'm out of shape. I'm gonna be out here looking like I'm about to die. But I be feeling like that too. And we running all the time. So people just need to get over the psychological aspect of it. And
Hmm.
maybe that takes going somewhere where there's not a lot of people
Yeah.
or getting up early and doing it when there's not a lot of people out to take that psychological aspect out of it. Like even when people go to the gym, a lot of people are intimidated by the gym because they got all
Hmm.
these people in the gym. Half of them are in this great shape and they feel like people are watching them or judging them or something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, but you could just walk. Start walking. And once you feel comfortable walking at a speedy, comfortable pace for like 15, 20 minutes or however long, try to jog for as long as you can and feel comfortable. So if that's 10 seconds, then it's 10 seconds. If it's 30 seconds, that's 30 seconds. And then just try to increase that little by little. You'll train your body and your aerobic system so it'll just get easier.
Hmm.
It won't be hard. It'll just get easier. But you have to take like baby steps.
Yeah. One step at a
Especially if
time.
you don't do any kind of physical fitness. If you like you say you skate and you cycle, so your aerobic system, it's in pretty good shape. You just gotta have to get used to running
Yeah.
more than anything.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for the advice. I'm gonna hit up Shaddy. I'm like, Shaddy, let's go.
I mean, he be out there. He be
I
out there.
know.
So I'm very proud of him because he stays consistent with it. He's out there. So I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, I'm proud of him too. I saw him out riding my bike, ran into him. Like,
I'm telling you, I was up there last week and it was like 70 degrees. And Shaq came and rang the doorbell. I was like, listen, it's cold. I don't even want to go outside, let alone outside to run.
Exactly. Oh man. Wow. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No. Like one thing I always tell everybody, I don't know. I feel like physical fitness or movement should just be a part of everybody's lifestyle. It's just so
Mm-hmm.
important, especially in our community.
Yes.
It's just a major part of your health. So you don't have to run. Find what's good for you. You like to play ball, play ball. You like to walk, just walk. You like to run, you like to cycle and skate. But I feel like it's just so important for you to keep your body moving just for your health and just like longevity of life. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just so important. I just wish more people would do it and take it. I feel like a lot of people I know are very into their physical appearance as far as if I talk about women and don't get mad at me, like everybody wants to get their hair done, everybody wants to get their nails done, everybody wants to wear the flyest outfit, which is nothing wrong with that. I feel like you should take pride in your appearance. But what about the rest of your appearance? Like your inside, like your health. Like that should be
Exactly.
just important as your external appearance, your internal. And I wish more people with, I think a lot of people it's just intimidation. Like people like, I can't do it, I can't do it. But like I think like they said, it was it like 90 days, just try something for 90 days and it becomes a habit and it makes it easier to do. So I mean, yeah, like with heart disease and all that, such a big
Mm-hmm.
thing in our community. I just
Mm-hmm.
wish more people would just go out there and get active. Whatever, find your niche, find whatever you like to do, whatever. I know people that play kickball. It's all kinds of stuff to do. You know what I mean? And just walking. Walking, people don't realize how walking, that's
Mm-hmm.
exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping your body moving. So
Yep.
that's one thing I probably like to end with. Like just it's just so important. It's so important.
It is. I agree. We always say health is wealth.
Yeah.
we
I mean in our community too, like it's just so important. It's so important. And I don't think we focus on it. I think more now, more people are into health than like our parents' age and stuff like
mm-hmm.
that. So you see it a lot more now. But yeah, it's just so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? With social media now, we're seeing it more.
Yeah.
Like you can see before I'm the only one over here, maybe skating or maybe playing kickball. But now on social media, I see that there are a bunch of other people not too far from where I live that do the same thing. So now we build these communities. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's helping too with building a community, building your tribe, and just like whatever, like you said, whether it's walking, whether it's hiking, basketball. Now you have a group of people to do it with, which makes
Yeah.
it easier.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even like the podcast that you're doing now, because you'll see, like hiking, cycling, things like that. Oh, black people like, I ain't trying to hike and stuff like that. But then when you
Mm-hmm.
see people that people
Yeah.
that you have a lot in common with, people that like you consider maybe on the same level as you doing it, it makes other people more comfortable to try new and different things and do some of these things as well. So I
Yeah.
commend you for, putting out this podcast because that's part of you're doing your part
Thank you.
to get it out there as well. So, it's important. Like, health is, like you said, health is wealth. It's important. I want us to live and be healthy and our community to, strive. So,
Yep. That's what it's about. That is what it's about. Thank you again so much for being on the
you're welcome. You're
podcast.
welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and thanks for listening.